Good morning. Alright, so I am here to share, as you can see, math. And I have shared just briefly a glimpse into Raise for today and have gotten several requests for walkthroughs. So that is what I'm going to start off with. And I'm starting with level 1. There are currently 7 levels available. Yes, 7. 8 is coming. So I shared with you all some time ago curriculum very briefly. Was a minute and 30-second video. You guys, that was like the shortest curriculum video because you guys have been waiting for it. And I said that's what we are using, and that's what has been working, and that's what we've been sticking with. So 2017 Raise for Today, the modern version, has come out. And what this is a, I don't want to say compilation, but it's a mesh. The original Raise is in here. Let's just put it like that. Sorry about that. That was a door. So, like I said, the original Raise Arithmetic, the brown books, are in here. And what they've done is, if you know the style of Raise, it's just basic, the most basic math, you know, straight black and white. It's not overkill. It was designed to be a graduated process, but not so much grade levels, if that makes sense. You know, it's designed for mastery and straightforward. I can say out of all the curriculums, you cannot use this without using this. So obviously Raise was written before grade levels were used, so it's just sequential and based on proficiency. And again, this has to do with a lot to do with the child's developmental capability. Children in general can only grasp certain concepts at certain times. That's just, it's proven. So trying to, even something has a grade on it, it does not mean that child is ready to grasp that. You know, a child may be interested in some algebra at a young age, but that does not mean that, okay, give it to them. It doesn't mean that they're gifted or any of the such, because if they are truly of that level and ability, you wouldn't have to sit and walk them through it. You could show them a book and they could complete that with no help. That's the difference. All right, I had a interruption. Asking for hair stuff. Anyway, out of all the curriculums, and we haven't used that many, but I'm just saying the curriculums that I have shared with you, I'll go back in and touch up on it. Texas Math and Purposeful Design paired with original, it worked. Original Raise, it worked beautifully for everybody. But again, I'm gonna go through an overview and share with you guys what's going on in here, and I guess a little bit about how this came about. I mean, you can go through the website yourself and read over it, but I think the most important thing is to give you guys a glimpse of it. What I can say before I forget is level 1, okay, levels. Now, the ladies that designed the curriculum Raised for Today stuck with the original design or model, I should say. Like Raise, it's not graded per se, but they did grade it for people that have to stick with a certain grade. So this is a recommendation, level 1. Let's see. There's a scope and sequence inside. I hope. If not, I'm gonna print it out. But I think I have it already in here. The right one. Don't quote me on that. It might be in another one, so I might just have to print out another one. I don't know. But I'm gonna give you guys the scope and sequence first so you can see that. I'm trying to make this as complete as possible, and hopefully the other levels will go as smooth. But you guys know me. I'm not trying to edit anything. I just want to give it to you straight and make sure I kind of answer questions and things like that. So level 1, and I cannot really recall. Let me see. A kindergartner, first grader, it's basic math. It's not one of those turn the page every day. It's not one of those type of things. So you can use this with a kindergartner, a first grader, no problem. You go at your own pace and as they master it, and that's the beauty of it. This model also encompasses every learning style, which makes it so much easier. Now, what I can say, you are looking at 2. It's not 2. There's a student text and there's an instructor text. And if you have followed me or a manual any amount of time, you know that I always say this is the most important thing. I know a lot of people tend to not get the instructor manual because, oh, it's just math, or it's just reading, it's just this, it's just that, and it's more money. What I will say is this right here is a pricier curriculum. However, we don't put a dollar amount on the children's education. The children in public school, the curriculum is expensive. We don't put a dollar amount on it. That's just not something we do. I'm not knocking anybody that does, but seeing the end result, having children go through university, graduate, and making upper 5 figures, I don't care how much it costs. If it's going to do the job, it's going to do the job. So yeah. Also, looking at reviews on things. When I look at reviews and I see curriculum changes and things like that, the first thing that pops into my head was, okay, I remember that person because I tend to follow people, not just watch random. Or I will go back. When they say it didn't work, it's because they failed to get the manual. The manual has all sorts of goodness in it, especially this one. But you cannot effectively use a curriculum without a manual. That's how they were designed. And trying to tweak it and cater it, no, it's not going to work. I have heard people come on here and give reviews and walkthroughs and things like that, and they skip over the intro. That's the most important thing. in my opinion, the most important thing. I'm not going to probably read the whole thing. I'll give you guys a little, little tidbit, because I know this little intro right here is already long. But again, if you know me, you know why I'm doing this. I don't like to, side shoot anything. Because if you can't get a full overview of what's in here and how to use it, you're not gonna, you know, you're not gonna have a good experience. And I think a lot of people, not even a lot, but well, maybe a lot. I'm gonna say a lot. Most people, when they look at Ray's, the Brown books, they are intimidated because it just doesn't look like the typical colorful math book. And it's like, okay, what do I do with this? Use it for, a little bit and not understand. But right here is what helps you. And there's instruction for the original Ray's. I shared that a long time ago. And how to use it and things like that. So, and it's not all about this. You extend beyond what's in here. This makes so much sense. So I decided to go ahead and purchase this. It's been a while. I think I might have some clip that I might include if I can remember from the opening of all of them and things like that. I got a heck of a deal because right here is about 70 bucks. Okay. These run 50, I believe. So like I said, there's up to level what you saw in there in a library, up to level 6 or something like that. 7, I can't remember. Anyway, it's worth it. It's worth it. So let me go ahead and open these up and read you the scope and sequence. Right, I'm getting ready to sound like an infomercial. I promise you I'm not. I purchased this with my own money, okay? But I just wanted to direct you all to the website, Mont Media Publishing. Are you frustrated with modern math programs that are long and busy work, short on explanations, math programs that have students memorizing steps with very little understanding of why those steps work, math programs that favor a broad survey approach without laying the necessary foundation of math rules and principles? So, do you want the content of Ray's original series, yet are unsure of how to present the lessons or how to help your student grasp the material? Need it structured into daily lessons and grade levels? Need more guidance in how to present the principles in concrete ways with real objects and visuals? Need the flexibility to adjust the material to your child's learning style or pace? Okay, all of the above. Obviously, I've been using Ray's before this, but I can check all that off. I guess. Anyway. So, Ray's is for you, okay? Deep is mental math. It's a lot of mental math, just like the original Ray's, because that's what's in here. Practical. The thing about this is word problems. And we can work, I can off the fly. If I think when I am trying to come up with some math and I'm thinking too hard, okay, we're not doing math today because I just couldn't get no problems on the board. But with Ray's, you don't have to think. I'm telling Zion, if you have, 2 cups of this and 2 cups of that, 5 cups of this, how much is it all together? That's so easy. That's what's in here. That is just what's in here. So this helps me out a whole lot because you guys know I'm working, running businesses. I don't have time to be trying to put together some lesson plans and all of that. And they get it and they move on. So we are actually not using level 1 anymore. Zion is only 6. Yeah, she's 6. She's almost 7. She's beyond level 1. But again, you can use this for a kindergarten or first grade. Even a 4-year-old, can grasp some basic addition and subtraction. So, principal approach. It teaches arithmetic in an orderly, systemic fashion, starting with the basic rules and principles drawn from the order and consistency observed in creation. Concept building, piece by piece. This teaches the kids how to break the numbers down and why they work a certain way. Integrative learning. Everyday language. Again, helps them learn how to read. You guys know my basic foundation of any sort of education is reading. These kids, I can give them their book and they can do it. No problem. This is written to the child, even though there is a instructor manual. Once they learned how to do it, and it's pretty easy, you don't just open and go. You don't really have to do anything. There's a lot of hands-on. This is concrete, visual, mental, abstract, all sorts of real-life problem solving as they present here. Real-life story problems. There's storylines, skill-based. You don't have to rush. And I'll show you once I get in here, leveled learning again. There you go. 8 levels are planned for grades 1 through 8. 7 is for release in 2020. 8 is for release in 2021. Child is using manipulatives, which are very easy to, incorporate and encompass. And basically that is how the original raise is set up. The concrete mixers, summer extensions, and things like that. Parents have permission to copy these for their own use. So what I will tell you is what we do. I don't copy anything. My children, you all know, we use interactive notebooks. So they use their notebook and they copy down their problems. Sometimes we do just mentally. I will just write it on the whiteboard and they will work it out right there. They don't have to show anything. That just is kind of how I gauge it. Or they don't have to write it in their books. Kind of how I gauge it. If I think they need more work on it, then they will, work a couple days on the problems in their notebooks. Some days we'll do every day we do daily math challenges where I will write for everybody about 4 problems. And that's what they do. And once I see that they have those problems down, there's really no need to continue to further that lesson unless I see they're having trouble with computation, with some fact fluency, time-wise, because it shouldn't take them that long to get those math problems if they know what they're doing. But that gives me an idea, okay, so-and-so seemed to take a long time. We're on the fractions, they're dividing, and that means they didn't get their facts, they're not fluent yet. So let's go back and backtrack. That's the beauty of this. I don't have to go on if they're needing some more help, some more practice. It's not one of those, okay, this is lesson 1, this is lesson 2. Okay, it's gauged like that, but you don't have to spend all day, all week, all month. You go at your own pace. Any game, mats, or anything, everything you need is in here. They come shrink wrapped. It's not in a binder. You can purchase binder. You need 2-inch binders for everything. 2-inch binders. These is very thick. Very thick. And some of them are thicker than this. So you need the 2-inch binders, which you can, they run you about $4.50 or so. You can get from anywhere. You don't have to purchase them from here. So, scope and sequence. Alright, so this is what the ladies have done. Level 1, ages 6 and 7. They are going to learn number concepts, counting objects, writing numbers, recognizing numbers, so on and so on. I don't want to. You can stop and I'll hold it on here for a few minutes. Give you guys a good idea. Skip counting, 100 charts. Lots of math, money problems. All right, time, fractions, parts of a whole, half, all of that. Writing fractions, measurements, problem solving. So you can, as you can see, ages 6 and 7. You can stretch this a couple of years. That's how the original Raise was set up. It's not just a, open the book and you finish the book at the end of the year. I know you all may want to go ahead and check out the testimonials. You don't have to trust me, but yeah. That's it. I'm going to just give you a walkthrough. Alright, so let's start with the instructor's manual. It just gives you a little note on the pronouns. They're using him and his and so on and so on. But yeah, that's just for book's sake, so don't have to use he, she, all of that. Alright, number concepts. Again, this is the same, the scope and sequence. I just use separate ones for certain things, but that is included in here. And if for some reason, like I said, you need an extra one, because sometimes I do just highlight or I'm sharing, and you can print it off the site. The table of contents, and it is broken down into many lessons. So yes, this looks overwhelming. Again, this lasts for many years, okay, until they get it. You may find that your child can go through, get their grasping concepts a lot easier, and you may go faster. You may only have to work through 2-3 problems a lesson and they get it, and you don't have to go back and repeat. You see that they get it. There are benchmarks and all sorts of things. So that's the reason. There's plenty. There's no need really to supplement. 170. There's an appendix. Answer key included in the back. I'm telling you, it does not look like the original small brown books, but the content is very much the same. Almost all of the original problems are included in this curriculum. And since the original books were used in a classroom situation, often with multiple grades in one room, they did not include teaching information. The teacher would present the lesson on the blackboard in front of the room, and the students would copy on their own slates. Much of the lessons involved the teacher were giving, and the students would answer orally. So they've added that to recreate the presentation in an age-appropriate manner while still keeping the focus on oral language and mental math. Research shows that this proven approach helps children develop patterns of thinking that enable them to handle mathematical concepts such as place value, communitivity without even realizing it. I'm reading through my glasses, which I shouldn't be. As you go through the lessons with your child, you'll be able to recognize that what is being taught. The teacher's guide will give you any background information that is necessary and will spell out exactly what math skills are being taught, as well as how to present them. You will have at your fingertips what the classroom teacher knew as he or she presented the lesson to the class. So, The purpose, the ultimate math journey. Headed on a course to reach a deep understanding of math. We want children to see numbers make sense. So you need to see the relationship between objects, word description, symbols, and reasoning. By traveling from real-world experiences to visual models to symbols to abstract reasoning, we can make the sequential road of mathematics feasible for any child and learning style. Any child and learning style. That is the reason why we use one curriculum. The goal is not to rush the students through the math sequence, but to equip them with arithmetic skills and thinking skills that will serve them well in real life and any career. We want students to get it, no matter what their learning style, pace, or natural math ability. So this above is what I skipped. It's just telling you when children are taught math concepts or procedures before they reach that level of thinking, they don't realize the underlying logic of math. So again, they're memorizing the process, and that takes much longer. When they can actually see what you're trying to get them to understand, and they can explain it. A lot of this is explaining why 2 plus 2 equals 4. Not what does 2 plus 2 equal. So when you all have seen me, I don't help the kids. I ask them to explain to me how they came to that conclusion. And we find as the kids are getting higher up in level, yes, they need to be able to explain it, break it down, show their work and whatnot. If you are just doing that rote memorization, they won't know. It's just a systemic answer. Okay, 2 plus 2 is 4. 3 plus 3 is 6. But they don't understand that really. And you need them to be able to break it down and explain that. So, the more senses we can use in learning, the more likely it'll stick. So, multi-sensory learning. We use auditory, visual, hands-on manipulatives, and models to show the skill or concept. This step is essential for building a firm foundation of understanding. Please do not skip this step, the destination points. Okay, I'm going to just hold this right here. It's just telling you to use some household objects. Okay, keep the lesson short so you have time. This is the next page. Let me just hold this on here just a little bit. And it's telling you your role as a parent teacher. You are the tour guide. So all this book is set up like they're going on journeys, trying to get to a destination, and it's a step-by-step deal. So the lessons are written to the students if they can read it themselves. It helps to involve the students and give them a sense of ownership. Your children are not expected to be able to read the lessons, nor are they expected to write the words or number problems, even though the lessons say to do so. The lesson assumes that the child and parent-teacher are working together, with the teacher modeling the skill as instructed. Again, whiteboard, chalkboard, whatever it is. Let them work it out. It's not intimidating. That's what my kids enjoy. It's not intimidating at all. Even if they miss a step or have not the right answer, they get it. Oh, that's what I did. Some of them may rush through things and then they can actually see, okay, I misinterpreted. I read the problem incorrect. I do that myself because there's a lot of word problems. Okay, let me go back and figure this out. Now I get it. What else did I want to say about this? I never pointed out in the or it's in the original raise. There are a lot of in the lower levels. There's a lot of algebra. I'm in the lower levels. So you have to kind of be careful. Like I said, this is, graded but not really graded. So it's one of those, take it as you can. You don't just open a book and assume the child can do it just because it's that level. That's why I want to kind of really give you guys a good overview. And I appreciate if you have made it thus far. I'm going to try to, move it along. But again, this is money. And I don't want to sell you all anything. I'm not trying to sell you anything, but I don't want to show you anything that is not going to work. But again, this takes a little bit of time and a little bit of understanding. All I'm saying is you need to be prepared to read, and you will be able to see how short, the reading is. But this is the most important part, though. This part, because you cannot use this without using this. So obviously race was written before grade levels were used, so it's just sequential and based on proficiency. And again, this has to do with a lot to do with the child's developmental capability. Children in general can only grasp certain concepts at certain times. That's just, it's proven. So trying to, even something has a grade on it, it does not mean that child is ready to grasp that. A child may be interested in some algebra at a young age, but that does not mean that, okay, give it to them. It doesn't mean that they're gifted or any of the such, because if they are truly of that level and ability, you wouldn't have to sit and walk them through it. You could show them a book and they could complete that with no help. That's the difference. So over here, this just talks about they have set it up for children or parents that have to fulfill state requirements. So parents that, that's why it's graded. So the main learning objective, it tells you here. Packing list. So in every lesson there's a packing list. Okay. There are cement mixers. These are the original texts from Ray's, like the little drills and things like that. So this is just the purpose of the oral exercises, is so they can get into long-term memory. Okay, so they can do it in their head. They got it. If they need to use scrap paper, that's fine. But try to work towards oral mastery. So yes, memorizing, things like that. But they're also, as they're doing that, they're also working through lessons, everyday lessons. Assessments in here. No need for, that starts at grade 3. No need for formal tests. There, for educational systems and homeschoolers in states that require tests and grades, we have included unit reviews that can function as cumulative tests. We highly recommend for young children these assessment reviews that can function as cumulative tests. These assessments be graded as any other daily lesson. Divide the number correct by the total number of problems in each lesson. Assign a percentage. So throughout the teacher guide, you'll see a mile marker icon with a list of benchmark skills that you can evaluate. And in the back, I will get to that, you'll see all of that. So I'm going to move through here and just show you. I'm going to hold it on there for a minute. Alright, Unit 1. So this is actual, lessons 1 through 35. Tells you where you're headed. Nice little, again, it's some reading. It's some reading for us. A little bit of reading for the kids. Tells you everything that you need. Here's your packing list. So these are all the things that you need. This is the mile marker symbol. Tourist attractions. Okay. If your child is ready for penmanship, have them practice printing the numbers. Okay. Again, some children may need help. If you're using a handwriting program that has not yet gotten to that, you can jump ahead and do the penmanship assignments after doing the math. Okay. Counting practice. There's some side trips. Highlight the lessons. At the grocery store, have your child count some things. See, this is why I said this is every day. Okay. The cement mixers. Again, this is the original race. Kind of little drills, and you can see that it's kind of long. You don't have to go through this whole thing, and you don't have to do this in one day. Okay. This tells you what to use, lesson 26 and 35. This is a lesson 1, and I'm going to open up the student text in a minute and just show you, and then you can see kind of, and I'll skip to the back because they're pretty much all set up the same. I'll walk you through the back. So, tells you your packing list and what exactly to do. Okay, that's lesson 1. See, lesson 2. Very simple. Once you get past all of this, the lessons pretty much are like this. All right, let me open up the student text. Again. All right, unit 1. Lesson 1. Okay. So this is a lesson. This is a lesson. They're just learning how to count. That's it. Page. And you see, take the stick your teacher gives you. Again, written to the child, but if your child cannot read this, then you can explain to them how to do it. Over here, they're drawing some lines to match. It gives them definition. If you want to use a notebook and you teach them to copy such, but that's really not necessary. Last page in this lesson. How many acorns? How many hats? Print the number. How many squirrels? Print the number. That's it. I just want to touch on this lesson here. They're learning to, recognize numbers. And this is important because the higher they go, they will have to know how to spell these words. So I like a good curriculum that, like in Purposeful Design, on the bottom of the page, it had the page number as well as it written out. So that's just another thing you can, help them with, because they're going to have to know that. I am lesson 143, thermometers. So again, basic, you need just basic, materials and things like that. 170, year in review. Here's a scavenger hunt card in the back of the instruction manual. The very last lesson. What was yesterday's date? So they are learning how to write at this point. Write 1/2 as a fraction. Again, extend it as long as you need to. Here's your appendix. Back again is another scope and sequence. Check off what you need to as you go along. Okay, benchmarks. It just tells you your key, how to mark things off. Quite long. So again, if they are not mastering these things in 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, do not worry. But this is what they should have down to move on. Okay, that's 3. 1, 2, 3, 4 pages. Summer review. Okay. Pace your learning. It does not necessarily relate to intelligence or mastery. Has to do with the child's learning style. Okay. These are, instructions for games and things, and that tells you in your packing list what you need. Cement mixers. Things like that. Alright. These are the cement mixers. And it tells you when to use a cement mixer in the lesson. Learning how to count on. Adding the new natural numbers. Counting to 100. So, oral, write it on the board, however you can get it down. They should not need to go through on a daily basis and write these things down, as a rote memorization. Back here are things that you will need. Everything you need is here. If you need to print things, you print things. That way you can use them with multiple children, but it tells you game board, cards, all of that jazz is back here. Your hundreds charts, shaded tens. This is a baseball game. Number bonds. Your clocks. Your rulers. Football. What did I skip over here? That's another game. So, some children may not need the games to get it, but, they are here. Tally marks, soccer field, game board. Lesson 166. Shapes. Scavenger hunt list. Just some fractions. Symbols. And this right here, these are we do the missing number thing a lot, at the younger stage, because this really helps them understand, recognize the different concepts, and you switch them around and they learn that 5 and 5 is also 10, things like that. Basic stuff to us is really important to little kids. So sometimes this is what's included in the daily math drills. Stuff like this at the young age, because it just kind of gets their brain going. The key behind all of the game boards and things like that. And that would be it. There's your photo credits. I'm going to run through the student text real quick. This numeration, they're just drawing the line to how many. Practice what comes before and after. This is learning the days of the week, year, and all of that stuff. Again, reviewing the numbers. They need to know how to write them. Use counters, so on and so on. Let's deal with money. So lots of talk, discussion, a minute, 2 minutes, you explain it, and move on. Unit 1, lesson 24, can you count from 1 to 10? Goes all the way to 100, and this has to do with math, baseball. Counting backwards. Alright. Here is some story problems. Sierra has 4 apples. Shauna has 5. How many apples do they have? You can include your own child's name. This is what I do a lot. Give them their own name. And blank. Fill in the blank with a name. Had 3 toads. And then found 2 more in the garden. How many toads did blank? And then use the same name. Have then. Okay. Basic. Grapes. fish in a pond, Hot Wheels, books, Legos, Pokemon, LOL, whatever you have. This is so basic. 2, working with fact families, you can use counters. And some practice. Hold on. That's 1 page of practice. Hold on. There we go. So, practice. This is what is in the student text as their lesson. Okay, again, you can break this up. If they only get 1 problem in a day, 2 problems, 3 problems, this is how you do it. And this is what I say the notebooks are for. They write in their notebooks so I can have some sort of feedback, and make sure they also, the purpose for the notebooks is make sure they're number formation and things like that. And especially when they get into, you know, multiple digits, make sure they're lining things up properly and things like that. So we don't obviously have to do all of them, but it's right here for you. It has to do with counters. Safari guide. Okay. Practice. How many are 2, 3, and 8? How many are 2, 9, and 8? Okay. Pretty basic. Tabs over here. I don't know what that's for. Practice. Subtraction. And today you're playing Mother May I, or Father or Teacher May I. So you get the game board out, and that is what you do. Fact families. Again, practice. This is 11 problems. So break it up. It's 1 lesson, but that many problems, so break it up into 2s. And this is telling you to use the number bond pictures. So, however you need them to solve it. Unit 3, a review. Okay, it's telling you about pictographs. Again, student text. Not terribly difficult, but they give them good visuals. Circle the word that describes the fractional part. 6, 7 years old. Signs and operations. 166. This is skip counting all along. And skip count, start at 20, subtract by 2s to 0. Going on a safari, you're hired as a scout. A scout goes out before a group to see what's ahead. So scouting for shapes. You're going to get a scouting report to fill in. So this is pretty, you know, it's pretty fun for them to be able to, it's not the same thing every day. Let's get this book out, and you know, it's fun. They're going on adventures every day. So that's what makes it different from most other programs. Going on another adventure. You have to go measure things, give them tape measures. Again, you don't have to do all of these in one day. This is 18 problems. Do as many as you can. Some of them will get it. My kids can do this lesson in a day and be done. And not, you know, it doesn't take a whole day to get the measurements and things like that. But you move on eventually, because you're going to move from, you know, whole inches to half inches, quarter inches, and things like that. But the quicker and easier that they get this, you know, you master it and you move on. Here's your glossary. that is the scavenger hunt. So that is it for the 6 and 7 year old book. And as much as I want to say, I don't think there's anything that I skipped. If there are any questions that you have, please go ahead and include them in the comments, and I can respond back to you on answering any questions or any additional information. But I will continue to share just a walkthrough of what is in the various levels. Again, the most important gauge, the best gauge, are these benchmarks here that are included, because sometimes we can tend to focus on certain things and not others, and then later on down the line we figure, okay, there was a disconnect somewhere and we don't know. This is so complete and detailed. Knows that there are 7 days in a week, knows the days of the week, recognizes a part is smaller than a whole, recognizes the relationship between the parts and the whole. Let's see, measurement, knows 8 pints equal a gallon. Some 7-year-olds are not there yet. Some 8-year-olds are not there yet. They get it, but they don't remember. So again, this is reminding you to slow down, take your time, using the curriculum, and just raise encompasses everything, in my opinion. Every concept. I have found that in certain curriculums, that whether I'm using it or I've seen somebody else use it, it does not cover all of the concepts, or it may leave some concepts out that are needed at a certain level, and you have to get the next level, or it's kind of hard to kind of gauge when you're looking at a book. Even if the scope and sequence is included, is it correct? Like, standards change all the time. I think at one point, certain grade level, second grade, maybe needed to know numbers only through 1,000, and maybe now it's through 100,000 or 1,000,000. So things change. That is the reason why it took me a minute to kind of go through here and explain the importance of the benchmarks. Again, and the summer skills, keep exposing your child to measurement, fractional parts, and shapes. So it does tell you too, when they are marked, if the majority of the benchmarks are marked with an M for mastered, then you can review the skills maybe once or twice a week to keep the skills current. Children at this level can learn quickly, but they can also forget quickly. So only the main learning objectives for level 1 must be mastered. Practice enough to keep them current. So sometimes you may have to go through and review some things, but again, with the basic concepts, real life, story problems and things like that, they should not have any problem getting through math and without struggling. And I don't like to use the word struggle. I'm gonna get off of here, but like I said, the instructor guide are the keys to any curriculum. I don't really see anything, the curriculum not working or failing. Is usually user error, and the user error starts here. So when I see we've had a change or it didn't work, again, it is because the curriculums are designed to be used with the manual, and that's how they have tested the curriculum, with the use of the manual. Of course, you may have to not follow it to a T per se, but it's designed to work. It's like, you have an instruction manual for a car. Every car is not the same. Every car has different features. If you don't follow the instructions, you can push a button that you didn't have in your old car and something will happen. It's the same thing in here. If you don't follow the instructions, something may happen. So just be prepared for that. Follow the manual and see where that gets you, instead of, okay, I'm just going to purchase this because this is this much and this is this much and this is too much. If you're talking 60, 70 bucks for each one of these times 8, that's a lot of money. And then add these, that's a lot of money. But again, we don't put a price on education quality. Math is one of those, again, very valuable. So in my opinion, math is like the most important curriculum you need. You can use pretty much a lot of things for reading, science, all the other subjects, but right here is where a lot of money goes. And I'm not saying that the more it costs, the better it is. That's not what I'm saying at all. But the value, there's a lot of value in here. There's a lot of value. Busy people, again, we're not going back to the beginning, but you know, the reasons to use the curriculum. Busy people, people that are not busy, what have you. It's a guide, and it will help to get you in a place and help you understand as well along the way. Kind of help how the kids help you see how the kids grasp things and understand things better than most other open and go, you know, type curriculum. This explains everything so very well. So you guys give me some feedback, and I will come back with the next levels in the series. Let me know if this was helpful. Again, any questions, comments, and I'll talk to you guys later. And let me know what you're using. Let me know what you're using. Lord, let everybody know what you're using for math, because this might not be for everybody, just as is any curriculum is not for everybody. I can tell you all sorts of things, but that does not mean this is for you. I'm just saying, I read you what the makers, the curriculum designers put out there, all learning styles. This is as basic as it can get, and you can make it as complicated and as challenging. Challenging is what my kids need. Challenging. This is challenging. So yeah, you can make it what you want, make it as easy as you want, and use it how you want. So, and not be confined. All right, guys. Bye.